Hello, friends, and welcome to the Friendly Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Okay, so I am so sorry that I was 4 minutes late, but I was just at a function, and that's why I'm dressed like this. I like to think of this as my youthful moment. I just went to a business networking meeting, and the host said, wear your holiday colors. And so I went full out. I don't know if you guys can see, but these lights are actually are lit up. My shirt's lit up. And I had reindeer ears, but I left those in the car. So anyway, okay, let's get serious. Let's get down to what we're doing. So welcome to the Friendly Show. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If you are returning, hello, hello. And so this is the way that we do our podcast. It's a little bit different than most. So we run this we have a theme every month. And then each week we focus on one of the pillars on the happy framework and how that relates to the theme. I literally just ran in the door. Okay. So so this theme for this month is bullying. That's what we're going to be talking about because it's really important. We talked about it last week that unfortunately, like the reason why I did it for this month is because we just lost somebody in our community. It was a young girl, and she was just the life of everybody's life. Like she was just so optimistic and so beautiful and so kind and all of the things. And you wouldn't have taken her as I don't know what this means when I say this, but like the type to be bullied. She was beautiful and kind and just all these things, and anyway, she is no longer with us. And that was unfortunately her choice in the moment. And it was because people are just so darn mean. And so I did the theme originally because of kids. And, I don't know if there's a lot of kids that watch this show, but I thought it was really important. And then the more I was thinking about it, I was like, how many of us still get bullied? How many of us still bully people, and hurt people? I get it. But we gotta start doing two things. We gotta start healing our own selves. Like we need to take the time to heal from whatever it is that has you scared and fearful and sad and mean. And in the process, we need to be kind to other people. So that's why we're doing the show. So last week we talked about how that our health and our affection for ourselves impact bullying and how it can help us become resilient. And then this week, we're going to be talking about purpose and how we can use our purpose to use bullying to kind of strengthen who we are and our message and all the things. Okay. So as always, I am going to go and share some things first. And then my favorite part of the show is when you guys are in the comments and you start sharing your thoughts, your comments, your questions, all the things. Okay. So if you're listening to this in the audio version, I invite you to come over to either YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitch. And we run this live every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. We run it for about 45 minutes to an hour. And and that's my favorite part of the show. So I really do hope that there are going to be people here that are going to be open to commenting on this. And also, I want to give the disclaimer that I am not a healthcare professional. Excuse me. This is my second event in a row. I went to one last night and one tonight. And even though I do this show every week and I do lives and I'm constantly talking and I'm talking with my clients and all the things, there's something different about being in an event for a couple hours and screaming constantly over the music and over the things. And my little voice box does not work. So hopefully I'm going to be able to keep it up for the next hour while we're having this conversation, but I apologize for the sound of the voice. So anyway, so let us look at some of the things when we're talking about kind of prioritizing our purpose. Okay. So I made some notes. I just want to kind of pull that up. So there were three things that I want to talk about when it comes to why purpose is so vital when we're combating bullying. Okay. So one of them is that it creates a sense of empowerment. So if we know our purpose, it's going to strengthen our self-worth, and it's going to remind us of our impact, and that we're capable of helping, other people stay grounded in the value that they need. Like when people see you living in your purpose, other people see that and they start living in their purpose. And there is never really anybody that says, my purpose is to make people cry. Like people don't want to hurt people, but hurt people do hurt people. But if they have a purpose, and if that purpose is, a bigger picture of trying to help other people, or trying to at least make people, happier than when you found them. That has always been, I never realized that was a big purpose of mine growing up, but it has always been that if people come into my orbit, I want them to feel good when they're there and feel good when they're leaving. I never want to have people come into my space and that I suck the energy out of them. And so I didn't realize that was a value of mine. I didn't realize that was my purpose, but now I'm realizing it is. And it kind of peripheralates, or I guess that might not be the word, all aspects of my life. And so the way I do one thing is the way I do all things. And I really try to use that. So if we can be using a sense of purpose, we are going to be kinder to people, right? The other thing is that it helps you, if you have purpose and you know what you're doing and you know who you are, then it's going to help you rise above negativity. So when people are bullying people, and we talked about this last week about affection for yourself. So when people are bullying you, instead of, yes, it still might hurt. Okay. So I'm not saying that, like, if you really have a good sense of confidence and a good self-awareness, that if people say mean things to you, that it's not going to hurt, because initially it will always hurt. It's just mean. But if you have a sense of purpose and you know who you are and you know what you're standing for, then you're not going to fall for what the bully is saying, and then it's also, you're going to realize that you're going to be able to overcome what they say. Bullies are really, really good at preying on the weak. And so if you have a purpose and a mission, then it's really hard to get people to deter you from that. So that's why that helps. And so ultimately it gives you direction, and it also gives you resilience. It gives you a way to bounce back. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you're less likely to let bullying define you. And that's one of the problems, is that we talked about this last week, that if like if a bully came up to me and said, oh my gosh, you have 3 heads on your neck, I'd be like, wow, you're very interesting. You went and take that in because you only have 1 head on your neck, right? Like, I know who I am, and I know I only have 1 head on my neck, right? So if they say something that I just don't believe, or that I know not to be true, that's not going to stick with me, right? But if they say something, they're not going to say something like that. They're going to say something that is going to make you feel less than. It's going to make you feel like you're not smart enough, that you're not pretty enough, because they know that that's what hurts, because that's probably how they've been hurt. And so they're going to use these things like, oh, you're so ugly, your nose is so big. I used to get that when I was growing up, that my nose was so big, that my cheeks were I was so fat. I was so ugly. I looked like a boy. I went through a stage where I wouldn't even go to the bathroom in public, because I went to one store when I was a little girl, and my sister and me went to ask the cashier where the bathroom was. And she looked at my sister and said, the little girl's room is right there. And then she said, honey, the little boy's room is just around the corner. And so she thought she was doing something nice, and it wasn't her fault. But that, I didn't realize, stuck with me. And so I've always had this, oh my gosh, like, I'm not feminine. I'm not. And it doesn't matter But it was funny that because it happened at such an early age that I always questioned what I look like. I always questioned when people were like, "You're pretty." I was always like, no, I'm not. I don't feel like, so it's funny how one little thing can affect a lot of other things and you don't know what people are dealing with. So being kind is just, it's super, super important. And so if if you're confident in your being and in what you're here for, your purpose, then bullying really can't stick, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So what can we do? So one of the things is that we can identify our values. We can figure out what core values are the foundation of our purpose. Okay? Because understanding what matters most to you, and I can't tell you what that is. You have to figure that out for yourself, unfortunately. I wish there was a handbook that was like, okay, so, if you were born on this day, then this is what's important to you. You can't do that. And maybe there's people out there that are like really into the signs, and then maybe they'll be like, oh yeah, you can. I don't know. But for the most part, you've got to decide that. And so you can write down, kind of think, journal, sit quietly and write down 3 to 5 values that guide your life. So when you think about what really makes me feel good, what makes me get up out of the bed in the morning, you can think about that. So it might be your kindness. It might be growth. Growth might be one of the things that you're always craving and that you're always excited about. Creativity, your family, whatever it is that are really important to you, figure out what that is, because then that is going to help you shape what your purpose is in life. Okay. So just give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. So while I was at the event, this actually happened to me yesterday too. While I was at the event, I had to run. I had to run to my car, and then I quickly drove home, and then I ran through the parking lot, or the garage, ran upstairs, ran into the thing, and I just, wow, it's going to take a moment. So if you're listening to this in the audio version, I apologize. But thank you for giving me grace if you're listening to this as the live version on video. So, and if you are commenting, I do not see it because, I want to get kind of through all of this so then we can have a conversation about all of this when I get over there. So I can't see any of your comments right now. So the other thing, once you figured out like what your purpose is, and we're doing that inside of the challenge today, we were talking about this. So the challenge for the Happy Holiday Challenge that we're doing today, we were talking about purpose, and we were talking about micro goals. And we were talking about how like you can have these big goals for your purpose, like these big visions of what you want to accomplish, what you want to do. But it's really hard to stay grounded in that purpose if you don't have a strong why. We've talked about that before. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? But also if you're not breaking this down into like smaller goals that you can check off and say, okay, I've done this. I'm on my way to like really living my life purpose. Then it becomes hard. You will be more susceptible to bullying because bullies will say, oh, well, that can't even be your thing because you're not good enough to do that. Whatever it is, I'm being very vague, but you're not good enough to do that, or I don't even see you working on that, or don't say that that's important because I've never seen you fill in the blank, whatever. If you're doing your best, we talked about the 4 agreements last month. If you're doing your best, then that it doesn't matter what they say about your purpose. That it's your guiding light. But if you can set smaller goals around the purpose, like if your purpose is to make people smile and make people, happier that day. I was just talking to a girlfriend today at lunch, and she was saying when she wakes up in the morning, before she even puts her feet on the ground, she says 3 things that she is grateful for. And then she thinks of what is one thing that I can do for my husband today to make him smile. So it might be putting a little letter in his briefcase or whatever it is. But she says that because that is one of her big purposes, is to, not be a statistic, not be a divorce statistic, and have the fun and the play and the love in her relationship. And every single day, that's what she focuses on. So she could say, you know, my husband, really guides me, or my children really guide me. And that's my purpose. But if you're not setting smaller goals of how you're going to live into that, then that's where you start questioning your purpose. But if you're constantly doing small, manageable, meaningful goals around it, then you feel really good about it. And then the next thing when it comes to purpose, I've got actually a couple. I'm only going to say one more because I want to go and see. I'm so anxious to see if you guys are chatting in there. The only other thing that I'm going to say is focusing on how you can help others. So bullying, unfortunately, can make you feel really small and powerless, right? But if you can turn outward and help other people, that can reignite your sense of purpose and make a positive impact. So if you see people being bullied, or if you see people being shy, you can go and help that one person, and that will make you feel good. I was talking to a gal at the networking meeting that I was at tonight, and we were talking about grief. And we were talking about how just people don't understand grief. People are really uncomfortable with grief. And so, especially around this time of the year, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, I didn't want to ask how my friend was doing because I know her mom died, earlier this year, but I didn't want to remind her about it during this holiday. What? Chances are she's thinking about it. So we need to start kind of talking about grief. We need to start talking about the elephant in the room. That's difficult. That's really difficult for you to be able to kind of help other people, especially if you're the one being bullied. But if you can help bring these things, that somebody's grieving, that somebody's shy, that somebody's been bullied, and you can help them and reach out to them, it helps you so much. And so this friend that I was talking to tonight at the networking thing, she's lost her mom, her dad, her sister, and now recently her twin brother. And she said, you know what? I went to a support network group. And if you guys are in Windsor, it's Julian's house. It's free. It's amazing. And anyway, she said she went and she needed the support. And now she's one of those people that you would think has a huge support system. Everybody knows her in the city, but she felt like she needed to be around people that just got it. And so she went to, a couple meetings, and now she's facilitating meetings because she wants to mentor people because she's been through so much grief. She wants to help them. And she said, you know what? I feel so good when I'm reaching out and I'm helping others, especially through the things that I struggle with, So if you see people being bullied and you've been bullied, reach out to them. And that will really, really help you. And the more that we can kind of build that we're talking about bullying, then these bullies are going to start thinking, oh my gosh, you know what? I gotta do something about this. I got to heal my things. There's a lot of bullies that were bullies in grade school, and they reach out to people that they bullied once they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s and apologize because they feel bad. Nobody feels good about bullying or making other people feel bad. But it's natural and it sucks. But like I said, hurt people. So I'm going to stop there. I've got like a bunch of other notes. If there's not a lot that you guys are talking about, then that's okay. Then I will come back and I'll read some more of them. But I really want to start having a conversation with you guys, especially because I was had a switch last week. So I didn't get to have conversation with you guys. I really missed it. So let me pop in. Okay, here we go. Hey. Okay, super exciting. So we've got, here it is. Britt's here. Hello. I've always been drawn to the underdog. Nice. That's me too. Mel says, hey, lady. Hello, Mel. Okay. So Britt says, I'm going to be Chatty McChatterson. Well, thank you. That's what I'm here for. And then he says, and as you can see, I figured out how to get here. Oh, you're on. That's awesome. You're on YouTube. Very cool. So Britt also said, who is that Pops guy? He seems awesome. Okay, I'm done. Is he here? Oh, Pops. I'm not used to you being in YouTube. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, Pops is awesome. You need to meet him. So he actually streams on Twitch, I think, all day today. So next Wednesday before the show, you can go in and you can find him in Twitch, which I still don't know how to use. And yeah, you can find him. He is really, really incredible. And then Mel says, dork. Now, she is not being a bully. That is her husband. And so she loves it. And so what Britt said was, Mel's Mayonnaise, you love a dork, which, yes, I know she does. And Mel says, yes, I do. Look at this. I love you guys so much. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so thank you for being here. And also to you guys, sorry that I was not here last week. So in case, I don't know if you guys watched it like in the replay, but it was a doozy of a reason not to be here. So Wednesday, I was actually staying over in a hotel because the weather was going to be really bad. And I had a kitchen delivery up in the Barrie area, which is like 5 hours away from here. Just for those of you that are not aware, a lot of you guys are all in Texas. So anyway, so I stayed over. So I knew the hotel internet was going to be junk. So I switched it to Thursday. And then Thursday, the road was so bad. We ended up, there was a major pileup on the expressway. And we were the first car that semi stopped here, jackknifed, and we somehow stopped right here. It was magic. It was so good. I mean, it was an awful experience, but we're here to tell the story. I don't want to tell the story very many more times. But so I obviously like missed the show on Thursday. So I did it on Friday, but then none of you guys were here, which I totally understood. And it really bummed me out. So I really like to be with you guys because you're my favorite part of the show. So what are you guys thinking? Britt, you said that you're going to be Chatty McChatterson. What are your thoughts on this? And since we didn't really get to talk last week when we were talking about, you know, health and affection for yourself and how that can build resilience. So then you know, kind of bounce off like when people are bullying you. Do you find that people are bullies still in adulthood? I find it to be true, but do you find, do you have ways of you getting around it that have people bullied you and this is how you've fill in the blank, gotten over it? I'd love to know all the things. So whatever you want to share, Britt, Mel, I see other people that are watching, but you're not commenting, which is totally fine. But if you want to comment too, it would be awesome for you to be here. Okay, so maybe I will go back and I will do a couple of things. Also, Britt, remind me because I brought the cards so we can end a little bit early and we can do the rapid question kind of thing because that was fun. So we'll end with that. So Britt says, or Pops says, so are you here on both of them? Are you on both devices? You're on Twitch and on YouTube at the same time? That's pretty cool. So Pop says, there are lots of bullies in the sim racing community. I just usually ignore them. Really? That bothers me. That like, because these communities that are like, you know, niche communities that you guys are all there, I would have thought that you guys are more of like a community, like supporting each other. And so what do they do? Are they talking smack or are they just mean? It really surprises me because I feel like, well, I'm naive. It's true. People are just mean everywhere. So why would that be any different? Oh my gosh. So Mel says teachers too. I snap back. So they're okay. I hate. Okay. Leanne, get your stuff together. Realize that people are just mean. So Mel, so teachers are bullies to other teachers. Is that what I'm hearing? So rude. And so how do they handle bullying inside of the school, like with the kids, or do they bully the kids too? This is so fascinating to me. I'm just like in such a bubble of like Mary Poppins, just like a spoonful of sugar. Pop says it's a hyper competitive community. There are plenty that I'm friendly with and a few that I ignore. Well, that's awesome. So ignoring really does there's no reason why we need to spend energy on people that are just shitty. Um, Also, private messaging them. And if they are, so I was talking to a girlfriend, and I'm just going to share a really quick story. And she was telling me that she's the part of this kind of group. And so they have to make all these decisions, and kind of like on a board of like making decisions for the group kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so because she's on the board, then she's making a decision based on like voting, and then what is best for the group. Okay. So when she makes this decision, and it's not just her, but when they're making the decision, then the rest of the people in the bigger group gets upset, right? If you're like, you didn't pick my decision, right? So they're like directly mean to her. And this doesn't make, oh my gosh, you guys, I have such a hard time with this. So anyway, so they're directly mean to her, and they will not talk just about the situation. So if they made a decision, I don't know, I'm not even good at examples. You guys know I have a hard time with this. So, but whatever the example would be, then instead of just saying, why did you make this decision? They're like, why did you make that decision? You're so dumb. Like, if you were smart, you would understand the impact of blah, 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 blah. And I just can't believe, I hope that you are not on the board next year, because you shouldn't even be on the board. How does any of that become helpful? Like, and these are grown business adults. These are people that are running industry. And that is just horrifying to me. And now, like, knowing that teachers, so Mel, I can't wait to get into what you've got to say, because just mean. But then you've got to remember that hurt people. So the more that people are just pushing down their hurt, then maybe they don't even see. I'd like to believe that they don't even see what they're doing and who they're being. But anyway, my girlfriend that was telling me the story, and she said, you know what I do now? Now, instead of pushing back or getting angry or like defending myself, she's like, whenever these people come up to me and start making it personal, I say, wow, you know what? I appreciate the fact that you didn't agree with the choice, and I would love to like talk about that. But can I ask you why you're making this personal and being super mean to me right now? And then she just waits. She waits to see what that person is then going to say, because those bullies don't usually get called out because they're just being mean. And then the people like you're saying, Pops, just ignore it. And I agree with that. But also sometimes we need to just like stand up and be like, why are you being mean? And not in front of other people, because then you're becoming the bully. And then it becomes like, my ego is trying to protect my ego, and then your ego is trying to protect your ego. And so if it's in a public kind of setting, but she does it privately, so then they can have a conversation about it. And I said, how does that go? And she's like, you know what? She's like, sometimes their ego is like so like through the roof that they'll just be like, oh, now you're taking it personally. I didn't mean it personally, even though they were clearly personal. She says, but sometimes they get it. And they're like, you know what? I'm really sorry. I'm having a really bad day. Do you remember the person with the car, the parallel parking that we did? I told you that story maybe it was a few weeks ago. And I actually just confronted the person that like honked his horn and was like really mean to me. And I was like, hey, and I just went up to him to see what was going on. And immediately he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm having such a bad day, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I think you need a hug. And we hugged it out. And that was it. Will it always be that simple? No, but I think we need to start calling people out in a safe way. So I'm going to also say, be smart, don't go and like try to save the world. But anyway, okay. So Mel says, so there's mean, and then there are bullying. Okay. So, I was just going to say, can you kind of define the difference between this? But this is a pretty big one, so I'm assuming you're going to. So I teach my kiddos to learn to identify both, that not all meanness is bullying. Okay, so please teach me, teacher. If it's consistently aggressive and harmful, that's bullying. Meanness will always be part of the world. However, when it's bullying, good distinction. When it's bullying, then it's roll up my sleeves time and let's go confront. Okay. Well, okay. So here's what I would argue as well. That's a very good distinction. Thank you so much, Mel. So yes, people will just be mean, having a bad day, just say a mean remark, right? Is that what you're saying? Like, it's just people are just going to be mean. And that is very true. It's kind of like even happy people are sad, and, we always have that duality. So I understand that. But then if they're being aggressively harmful to people, then that becomes bullying. I get that. Yes. Yes. So, but I also would say, so when you say, okay, it's roll up my sleeve time and let's go confront, I would say that we need to, what was it? Is it microaggressions? Is that what the thing is when people are just like, just giving like little shitty things, whether it's like racist remarks that are just like these little racist remarks, or little homophobic remarks, or little bullying remarks, like these little things that we just kind of accept. And it's like, oh, that was shitty, but like, that's just Joe, And so we kind of ignore that. What I think we need to do is I think we need to confront when it's just the little thing. Like when it's not the bit, yes, you have to confront when it's bullying and that's hard and whatever. But I think we need to be, so I have a relationship with this one person and they're amazing. I absolutely love hanging out with them. I like every time that they're like, hey, do you want to go out? I'm like, yes, I don't care. I'm sorry. What was it? What are we going to do? Amazing. And we have a really, really good time. But what I've noticed is when we're together, there's always a small element of being really judgy. So I didn't notice this before, but I've just like started, I think because I'm becoming more hyper aware now that I'm like really getting into this whole thing and seeing how all these little micro things that are happening in the world are like just compiling and it's becoming too much. So I'm going to be having a conversation with them and just being like, hey, you know what? I absolutely love you. Absolutely love our time together. But did you notice for some reason when we're together, we end up like having these little judgy things that we do that it's like just funny. Somebody will say something and then they'll be like, oh, did you see that? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I don't like that. I'm like doing that. That's not me. It doesn't feel good. But then I like kind of let it go, right? Because it only happens like once in the whole time that we're hanging out. And it's that little microaggression that it's just like, I don't want to call it out. I'm just going to let it go. But then it happens every time that there's one little thing that's just like a high school kind of thing. And so I've decided that the next time that we actually hang out, when it happens again, I'm going to remember the actual example of it. Cause you guys know I kind of like ignore it. So if you, even right now, if you said, what's an example? I'd be like, I don't remember. But I'm going to make a point of remembering that. So then we can talk about it when we're alone. So whether we're, we just go out for a coffee after or whatever, we'll go alone. And then I'm going to talk to them and just be like, hey, that doesn't really feel great. Do you notice it's happening? And like specifically last week when we did the thing, you said this, I agreed with it. I just went along with it. I don't like it. So is it just when we're together? Like, what is this? And so I think we need to just, when it's this small little thing, I think we need to be talking about it. Super long-winded way of saying that. Anyway, so Mel says, yes, bring the meanness to their attention because they may not even realize the tone. Yes. Yes. I have a friend that just has resting bitch face and she just always looks mean. Like so she'll say something just like in passing and it comes across as being mean, but she's not. She's like the kindest person ever, but it's just like, because she doesn't have like a kind face, unfortunately, I feel so bad for her because she'll tell me I don't have a kind face. And I was like, well, maybe we need to like work on smiling, like just smile a little bit. But then we like started talking about it and we're working on it together. She's such a great person. Because I was like, why don't you smile? Like, what is that you don't smile? And then you work it out. And then you realize she was not bullied. So now I don't know, Mel, I'm gonna have to really like think about this. I do like the difference between meanness and bullying, and not just categorizing all meanness as bullying. But she was, I think it was more bullying when she was a kid, that like when her teeth were coming in, they weren't coming in great. And so they always made fun of her teeth and her smile. So closed mouth it became. And then she just like always tried not to show her teeth. You know what I mean? Now she's got a beautiful smile. I'm like, who cares? Even if you had like, you know, not a great smile, still show it. Jim Carrey is one of my favorite people. And his teeth mine are all crooked, all on the bottom. And I used to get teased about it all the time, but I used to get teased when I hated it. So it was almost like I was like putting that energy out there for people. It was like, hey, here's the thing that I hate. I didn't say it, but it was almost like I let that hang out there. And then people would like latch on and be like, hey, I think she's self-conscious about this. Let me talk about the teeth. Once I realized somebody, I don't know if it was my mom or somebody, was like, did you see Jim Carrey's teeth? They're worse than yours on the bottom. And he's always smiling and he's always happy. That's when I was like, yeah, I got Jim Carrey teeth. Like it was perspective. It just changed and I was fine. She obviously never heard about the Jim Carrey teeth. So sorry, Jim Carrey, if you're watching this, because I know you're at home right now watching every week, every Wednesday at 7:30. Okay. Get back to it, Leanne. So Pop says, can reply, yes, I saw it, but I'm not in the habit of belittling people. Yeah, I saw it, but I'm not in the habit of, when I'm talking to, yes. Okay, so yeah, and that would be fine. Like I want the conversation to go that it's just like, give them the out. Like instead of saying, wow, every time I'm with you, this happens, like I want to just be like, hey, when we're together, did you notice we do this thing? Like, you know what I mean? Because there's no reason to make people feel bad, especially if they're doing things that are just like, you don't even realize it. Mel says, tact, tone. My facial expression says everything. Yes. But you're like one of the kindest, like, oh my gosh, you're like the sweetest person. And I remember the first time that we met, like we had like major cry fest. And you're such an awesome person, Mel. So yes, tact and tone. A lot of people don't get that. So these are all things that I feel like maybe we should be learning in school, you know, like maybe who all the presidents were for the entire time of America maybe isn't as important as like learning how to like deal with these kinds of things. But anyway, that's it. Okay. Thank you so much, Britt. That's why I told you, because I wanted to make sure that you kept me on track. So almost time for rapid fire. Okay. So yes, we will absolutely do that. So Mel says, I try. You're too kind. No, I'm just honest. You're just so amazing. And I'm so happy that you're here every week. You guys have no idea how much that means to me. Okay. So we're going to do rapid fire. I also want to do a little bit of a thing. If you guys are listening to this, I want you to come over, and it's not something more for you to do, but I have started a new community. I've been talking about this for years. And I'm always like, it's coming. It's here. It's finally here. It's called the Happy Circle. And so if you go to hello, HELLO, happiness, HAPPINESS. So hello, happiness.ca, not .com. So .ca for Canada. If you go to that, then you'll see that there is a free community. So here's my vision for it. I'm super, super excited for it. What my vision is that it becomes a social media place that you go to when you just want to be talking about happy things, okay? That you just want to be surrounded with goodness, with joy, with all of that thing, okay? So you go in there and it's exactly, well, it's not exactly like Facebook, but it's pretty close to like being like Facebook. And you go in and you can do posts, you can do GIFs, you can share pictures and files and all the things, right? So you can do all of this stuff. And you can also like have your own profile, just like you have on social media. You can also private message. So if you like go and look and you're like, oh my gosh, I loved what Mel said, I want to go and like private message her and tell her. So you can do all of these things, right? But then I also have a space And so you get a feed. There's a feed that you'll see everything that's happened, everything that you've missed. The reason why it's not like Facebook is there's no ads. So I pay for this platform. So then there are no ads. So you're not going to see any ads. And then I'm telling people you can't sell in this thing. Okay. So it's not like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Hey, da, da, da. So there's 2 other pages, or like spaces, they call them. So there's 2 other spaces. One space is, hey, what events are you going to? So if you're putting on an event, or if you're going to an event, then you can put it inside of there. So the reason why I did that is because I know that there's people that are going to be like, hey, I'm doing this fundraiser. Do you want to come? And they want to share it. And it's good to share. Or like the event that I went to tonight, it would have been good for me to put in there. I didn't, because it was actually last minute that I knew I was going to be able to go. And anyway, but you can put it in there. So then if you're ready to look for, hey, I wonder what's going on, you can go into that space and you can see it. And then there's one other space that I'm like really excited about, that it is, I can't remember what we called it. Something like, actually, I'll look it up right now. So there's a separate space and it's called On Those Days. Okay. And so inside of there, it's going to be when you need to vent about something, when you're having a bad day. And those posts don't go into your feed. So those are just housed in this little space. And so people go in specifically to go and vent and do their thing in there, because I do think that there's benefit to getting it off your chest. I think there's benefit in asking for support in that space. Where I don't think that it benefits is when people are going because they're having a hard day and they want to go somewhere that's just supportive and just happy. They don't want to be bombarded with other people's stuff. That's one of the things that are hard with Facebook, because then you see, especially like during certain times of the year, you'll see everybody's stuff and it just kind of keeps bringing you down, but because it's a separate space inside of the happy circle, then you can go in, and when you're feeling ready to be empathetic with people, when you're ready to go and say, you know what, I can go and I can read other people's stories, you can go in there and show support for people. And so, but it's not sidelining you when you're trying to get out of your funk. Do you know what I mean? So I'm super, super excited about it. It is 100% free forever. I am always going to just keep this going. So it's very new. We just launched, I think, 2 weeks ago. So it's very, very new, but the longer that we've got it going on and the more people we get in there, the more posts we get, it's just going to be amazing. So I highly encourage you to please come and check it out. And you can have an app on your phone. So then you'll be notified. Like, it's really, really cool. You don't have to just be on desktop, which is really kind of awesome. Anyway, so hellohappiness.ca, check it out. It's free. Okay, so Pop says, and y'all ignore my messages about finding the stream. Oh, yeah, it was because I was late. I was 4 minutes late. Sorry about that. Okay, so Mel says, ever since COVID, kids just have to be shown now what being kind is. Homes are loud, noisy, disrespect of each other. It shows. So this is what I deal with daily. Small, manageable goals. I've already seen a big difference since the first week of school. That's awesome. It breaks my heart, because that's the whole thing, is that hurt people. And I know that I just keep saying it. It sounds like just a bad kind of thing, but it's true. And so parents are not great parents sometimes, because I do believe that they're trying their best, but if they're really in a shitty space, they can't. And so, I'm just so grateful that there are teachers like you, Mel, that are able to have a safe space for their kids, and that their kids are able to kind of learn what healthy looks like, because it's not everywhere, it's not always at home. So you're just amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's do the rapid fire, and I am going to just grab 3 cards out of here. So I'm going to grab that one, and I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to grab, I don't know what these are. I'm going to grab this one. Okay. So they're long. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I'm going to read all 3 of them. And then you can write your answers. Don't write your answers to all three of them. If you guys remember, you just write your answer to one of them and then hit send. And then you can write your answer to the next one and then hit send. That way we're not just like waiting around for a story. You can just go per, okay? So I'm going to read all three and then we'll go one by one, but get ready to answer. Okay, so here it is. If you could have any vehicle, such as a sports car or a private jet, what would it be and why? Well, that's a good one. Okay. Okay. The next one. What is one thing you would like to accomplish in the next year? Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And then the next one. If you could be any fictional character, who would you choose and why? Okay. I feel like was it a fiction? Oh no, it was a historical figure that we did one time. Okay. Anyway, so we've got those three. So, oh, look at that. Okay. Oh, I put that over top of my mouse. That didn't help. Okay, so we've already got one. So Pop says, question one would be a brand new Dodge truck. Well, you've clearly had your eye on something because that was really quick. Okay, awesome. For me, what would mine be? If I could have any vehicle, such as a sports car or a private jet, what would it be? You know what probably would be? It would probably be a Bentley so I could give it to my mom. Or a Mercedes. There's a specific one that my dad has always wanted, but he will never get because it's a 2-seater and he like won't be able to fit his golf clubs in it. So he's always like, nope, it's just something that I will always want, but it's not practical. I'm a golfer and it's not a golfing vehicle. So it would be one of those two. And so I can give it to my parents. Mel says Shelby Mustang because they're the coolest. They just are. Yes, they are. And I know what a Shelby Mustang is. Yes, they are just beautiful. Okay, so Pop says question 3, the Invisible Man. Really? Okay, so why would you want to be the Invisible Man? I'm curious about what that, like, why that speaks to you. Okay, and then Britt says, forgot. Question 2, repeat, please. Okay, what is one thing that you would like to accomplish in the next year? That's my favorite one, Britt. Okay, so go ahead and figure that out. So, okay, so I said mine about the car, and so did Britt and Mel. And for you that are watching, if you also want to, also, if you're watching in the replay, play along, and I will get notified that you've played along. So go ahead and do that. What's one thing you want to accomplish in the next year? Oh, here we go. So Britt says, question 2, be approved for disability and be out of debt. Awesome. Okay, let's make that happen. I thought, did you not already, why did I think that you got approved? What just happened? Or, why am I forgetting what happened here? I thought that didn't we just celebrate something about that? Or that you were able to apply again? Is that what it was? Anyway, okay, so yeah, so let's work on that. And okay, so hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to do those things. Also, when it says out of debt, have you heard of the 2 ways of getting out of debt? Like the 2 kind of strategies that you can do? I'm just going to share it with you because they were kind of cool. So one of them, I can't remember what they're called. They do have names. Like one is a snowball effect or something. So I think the snowball one is where you'll have, like, let's say you have like 3 things that have debt, like a credit card, a school debt, or actually it's school debt's kind of hard. So like let's say you have 3 credit cards. I'm just going to make it easy. You have 3 credit cards. Then you take the lowest one and yes. Okay. No, I don't know what the names of these things are. So one is the snowball effect and I can't remember what it is. And then there's another one, but these are the 2. So one is you take all of your things, you pay the minimum on all of them, but one of them you pay a little bit more. And so you keep paying a little bit more on that one so you can get it down. And then once you get that one down, whatever that minimum payment plus the extra was, let's say you're paying, I don't know, let's say the minimum is like $50 on each one. And so you have to pay $50 on each one, but on that first one, you pay $100. So then you can start getting it down. Okay. So now you have that $100 that you're doing every month, and then you eventually pay it off. When you pay it off, instead of being like, great, now I don't have to pay $100. Now you take the $100 and you put it on the second one. And so now the second one, instead of paying $50 as the minimum, now you're paying $150 because you're taking that money that you're already used to spending and you put it on the second one. And so that one goes down even faster. And then you take the $150, you put it on the other one, and now you're paying $200 off of that one. And that one goes like that. So that was like one thing that was really cool. And then the other one is you look at how much you owe on each one, and then you just work on the lowest one first. So then you can get that one done first. And then you do the next one and the next one and the next one. Anyway, I just learned about this. I was talking to somebody. They just explained it to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And of course, it came up in conversation right now. So I was like, I got to share what I did. But I didn't learn it great. But look it up. Anywho, let's go here. So Pop says, I would want to be the invisible man just because I've wanted to disappear from society for several years now. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question. Why do you want to disappear from society? Is it because it's just like overwhelming and you just don't want to be a part of it? It's because you don't feel like, tell me why the reason that you want to disappear. Now, I totally get it because I was like, I'm really craving just getting off the grid for even just a week. So I'm thinking that maybe during the holiday, I'm going to try to do that. But anyway, we'll see. Okay. Mel says, so I said, number 2 is, what is one thing you would like to accomplish the next year? And okay, so not the next year. So she wants to accomplish retirement before I turn 70. So do you have a plan for that? Do you have, so that would be the thing. It's so funny how like conversations come up and then it's like, oh, here, I can take what I just learned from that and give it to you guys. So last night at the event, and I spoke at the event, you guys, it was so fun. Like every time I speak, it doesn't matter. I have been doing it for years. And every single time I speak, I'm just like, that felt amazing. Can I do it every single day, 5 times a day? So anyway, so I was at this event and, one of the guys that were there, we were having this conversation. He was like, it was really cool when you were talking about purpose. You were really making me remember why I did the things that I was doing. And one of the things is when he first met his girlfriend, now they're married. But when I first met my girlfriend, we like fell really hard and we started talking about our retirement right away. Like they were only dating. I don't know how long they were dating. They started talking about the retirement and what they wanted to look like. And they were just like early 30s. And so now, like fast forward 20 years, they have this plan and they're like kind of semi-retired. And so it was really cool. They like looked at it and was like, okay, this is where I want to retire. This is what I want it to look like. And then they made their plan. They reverse engineered it by like when they were 30, I don't know, 32, whatever it was. And now they've just been working on that. That's been like their main purpose goal. And then they've had small goals leading up. So I'd be very curious. Okay. So Mel says, yes, my plan is for Britt to get approved for disability. Awesome. Awesome. Fingers crossed. And then Pop says, been a really rough 5 years and it's enough to deal with myself. Okay. So I get it. I totally get it. But I'm really happy that you're here because I do think that having community is really important. And it's one thing, like I told you, I want to get off the grid. I don't want to be around people. I just want to take like a break from everything just for a couple of days during the holiday, just to refresh, reset kind of thing. I'll probably still be in the happy circle because it's like, it just feels good there. I don't get sucked into anything else. And I'm probably going to stay in the happy circle, even in the 3 or 4 or 5 days, however many days I take off of social. I'm going to go in there because I do know that community matters. So yes, being the invisible man is fine. And it's good and it sounds exciting, but please just make sure that when you need community that you've got it. But you've got Mel too, which is really good, and a family. And so that's good. Okay. So get off my soapbox, but I'm just realizing like I was always the type that was like, no, I could just like, I could live on my own forever and I'd be happy. But it was because I had community and I didn't realize it, you know? So anyway, so Mel says, I want to travel. Awesome. Anywhere specific or just in general? Do you want to do like Cheryl does, that they packed up their whole life, their house, they sold it, they did everything, and then they've got their what is it, like a mobile, what do they call it? Mobile vehicle? Oh my God, I sound so, what is it called? A mobile home? Oh man. Anyway, and they just travel, which is really awesome. I think that's cool. And then Britt says online community is great. Yes. Okay. So even if you became Invisible Man, you would still do Twitch and your sim community, sim racing, right? Okay. Mel says, in general, yes, I could do that. Motorhome. Awesome. Very cool. Yes. Okay. So Pops is like, it's an RV or a camper. Thank you very much. Yes. I just brain farted there. I just could not get it. Oh, Britt, I love you so much. And this community he would still be a part of. Okay. That's great. Then fine. Be Invisible Man. That's great. As long as I don't lose you. I was very selfish in that, actually. I was like, why do you want to be Invisible Man? I want to be able to see you. So anyway, okay. So where are we at? So this one, the car we dealt with, everybody got it. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So Mel says, sorry, I didn't pull it up. Mel says 3 is the fictional character. Yes. Oops. Okay. So tell me what your fictional character would be. Is that what you're working on right now? Or did you say it and I missed it? Okay. No, you're starting again. Fictional character. Okay. Great. Thank you, Mel. Let me know who it is. Still thinking. So what is one thing that you would like to accomplish in the next year? So for me, what do I want to accomplish in the next year? Oh gosh, everything is rolling because I have so many goals for next year. If only one of them could come true, if I could only work on one of them, it would be that, I think if I could only do one, it would be that I'm able to do the happy circle full time. That would be, if I could do one, that would be it. I absolutely love being a kitchen designer, but I would love to switch that and for the happy circle to be a full, that there's one part that's free, but then there are going to be things that I'm doing. Like there's going to be like the paid coaching through that portal now. So it's not like a separate thing. There's going to be like book clubs and masterminds and all that kind of stuff that right now it's all separate. It's all going to be in that platform. So I would like that to be able to be my full thing. And then my side gig is my kitchen design. So what that would just mean for me is that I'm still doing it at the same thing that I'm doing with kitchen design, but I'm kind of just like picking a few jobs a year. That would be really cool. So that's what I'm working on. It's more of a 5-year plan, but if I could accomplish that next year, would be amazing. Okay. And the fictional character. So who would it be and why? So we had Invisible Man, and then Mel says fairy godmother, because she can just wave her wand and pain is gone. Sprinkles happy everywhere. Oh, I like that. Ditto. I really like that one. Yes, Mel, that would be awesome. That is so good. And actually, yeah, that's the one that I want to. Okay, I'm not even going to think about it. I want to be fairy godmother too. Okay. That is a really, really good one. Yeah, I don't even want it like that. Nothing tops that one for me. That would be the one that I would want, I think. Yeah. If I could just make everybody's pain go away, physical or emotional, that would be amazing. So I love it. Great job, Mel. Okay. So that clears it up for me. So yeah. Okay. You guys, I guess we're going to end there. This was amazing. Thank you so much. And Britt, thank you so much for keeping me on track so we could do this. We are going to bring this back for every episode. So Britt, just remind me, when we're getting close, so we can do at least like 10, 15 minutes at the end. So we can do that. I love you guys so, so much. So hopefully I will see you throughout the week in the Happy Circle. Remember, it's hellohappiness.ca, totally free. Come on over. And I will see you guys next week. So next week, we are going to be talking about bullying again, but we're going to be talking about partnerships. So that one's going to be a really good one. I feel like we've kind of been touching on it every week so far, but I think that one's going to be really good. So just think about it and what you want to share, and maybe what questions you have, and maybe bring a friend that you know, especially like going into the holiday. It's the week before the holiday. There's going to be like, Mel, it might not be bullying, but I think there's going to be meanness. Unfortunately, there's going to be meanness for the way people are dealing with retail. There's going to be meanness with people that are dealing with parking spots and family that they don't agree with. So I think next week, it's going to be a really important conversation. So I hope you're here. It'll be 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central for you guys, or whatever the equivalent is for you. I hope to see you. I hope you bring a friend, and that will be it. Yes, Mel says yes. Road rage, not fun, but I think it's going to be hard. So be very, very careful, you guys. I want to see you next week. And Britt says, have a great week, y'all. Love you, love you, love you. Big hugs. Bye.